Yes, sir. How you doing, brother? Yeah, I go by Jones from Spark That Talk podcast.
What's up, Jones?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Practically cousin. We're family. Brandon spoke highly of you guys, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, he told me about you earlier today, so he told me he was gonna tap in, which I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
You know?
Hope he said good things too.
Oh yeah. He told me you got a lot of information, bro. And
Oh
the
wow.
whole purpose of tonight was to reach out to people, in the community. That's why I call it the Spark That Talk community chat.
Sure.
Where I just want to, whoever's following us, listen to our podcast. I just want people to tap in and kind of, give their side of what's going on right now, like how they feel about it, what they feel like could be changed, what we could do better, stuff like that. Just try to get the energy of the community right now. Give us an open forum to discuss that.
Absolutely.
So just to get started, because right now it's only us in here right now, but I'm assuming more people will join as it goes by.
For sure.
But so just tell me a little bit about yourself, bro.
No, my name is Daniel Verdugo. I grew up in Whittier, California. I still reside there today. I am a registered associate marriage and family therapist. I also teach at Hope International University, which is my alma mater that I went there for my bachelor's and master's.
Okay.
So, I'm seeing clients, I'm doing my thing teaching wise, and this with everything going on, it's very present in both areas of what I do and who I work with, and it's a lot. That's as far I think I could start with that. It's just a lot going on. I don't know what direction you want to go into, but
well, right now today I do want to focus on basically the death of George Floyd.
Yeah.
With police brutality and obviously racism, which is obviously still present in today's time, even though you would assume in 2020 we would be on a whole different level and with people in general, you know what I mean? And it just seems like no matter what we do right now, I'm talking from the protest, peaceful protest, to the violence, to whatever you want to call it, it still seems to never be any real change. And this is over generations. Right now we're experiencing silent protests, which become, violent because you have people out here getting people wild up and taken away from the real issues right now. You got plenty of people out here battling, protesting the system for a real reason. And I think right now we're getting lost in the sauce with a lot of the media. Portraying, just showing the few looters and people who's causing the disturbance. And I think that is one of the keys to why we don't have change, because maybe the message isn't getting across clear to everybody, and everybody's just seeing the bad of it instead of seeing the good, which I would wish people would see more of the bad when it comes to police killing unarmed black men.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that people need to open their eyes up to. I mean, it's dead in our eyes now because of social media, people with cameras. It's in our face. There's no more denying it. So the fact that we're still getting people denying it and it's dead in our face is a real issue to me.
Absolutely.
And to the community. I mean, that's why things are going to where they're going at this point.
Yeah.
But from your position, where do you stand when it comes to, protesting, standing up for Black Lives Matter and things like that? Where do you stand?
I think it's 100% important to stand up for what's going on and speak up against it. I've had this conversation numerous times. Can't even imagine how many times over the years, just in general with my own family, my own friends, and especially now with. Did you need to do something?
No, go ahead, brother.
And especially now, the conversation is more trending and everything than ever, and hopefully not even trending. This is going to be something to keep talking about.
Correct.
This won't be just for the week. This is the topic for this week or next week. Like, this has been and should have been the conversation for years. And it's I don't know if Will Smith actually said that, but people threw this quote around that, racism isn't getting better, it's getting recorded. Now, I don't know if he truly said that or not. I'm not going to say that was him, but that one stuck with me the most because it's been present I'm only 25 years old. Okay. I've seen it since a young age. Like, I'm not Black, but I've seen it. I've witnessed it. My friends, some of my best friends, my family members, I embrace Black culture very much. And as far as what I take in, my music, movies, everything, like, I embrace it. My closest people are Black. So
right,
I've seen it firsthand, like what it is versus when I'm with, is that Brandon?
Yeah, there go Brandon right there. Welcome to the chat, brother.
Yo. My boy
What's
Daniel,
up?
man. What up? Jones, what's good, brother?
Good, my brother. Good to see you, man.
Hey, yo, don't mind me. I want to sit back and listen, man.
No, for sure.
But I'm glad you're here because I see you got a fresh cut during quarantine. I see you.
Hey, when I found out Saturday, was my Saturday night, man.
That's right, bro.
You went to one of those speakeasy barbershops, all low key.
But yeah, brother, you could continue on.
No, for sure. And especially now more than ever, like especially with my colleagues in mental health and everything, we've had this open discussion. And my boss, they wanted to get my perspective, and I kind of told him, like, growing up, like, obviously I'm not black, but I'm very blessed with a diversity of friends. I have white friends, I have black friends, I have Asian, you name it. I've been in situations where there's been 3-4 of us in my like more whiter friend group, and we've been at a mall, and we go in, everyone's super nice. Oh my God, take a look around, feel free, da 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 da. And then I've been with my group of black friends, all of us. I look white, I'm Mexican, but I'm the one in the group. And we walk in, and all of a sudden it's different. Hey, can I help you with anything? Are you gonna buy anything? Well, if you're just gonna look around, you got
energy shifts. And
exactly.
I think going back to what you said, where you embrace the black culture. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, a lot of people do that, and I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And like what you just said, I think a lot of people don't understand the real black experience.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's the biggest issue. So
100%.
You have all races embracing the black culture. You know what I mean? And I think when it's really time to be black, that's when things get shifty, because now if I'm telling you one of my experiences, if I say I walk in the store, next thing I know I'm being followed for no apparent reason, yet I do have a job, I do have money in my pocket, and I'm not coming in here just to be in here. I'm actually coming here to purchase something.
Exactly.
And it's like the stereotype is, oh, watch him because he got a higher percentage chance of death, not knowing who I am, what I have in my pocket, which is bizarre. And that's clear across the board.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure plenty of black people will have that kind of experience, not from only just shopping. We're talking about police right now. From when you out driving, you could be by yourself or with a friend or two. You drive past the police and you look in your rearview mirror, and next thing you know, they hit a U-turn on you for no apparent reason. You following the guidelines, you in the lines, you follow you at the speed limit, yet here they come, hit a U-turn, hit the lights on. Now, from my own personal experiences, this happened to me more times when I was younger. Now I'm 30. Yeah. When I was in my younger years, like 18, 19, 20 years old, bro, I had more encounters with the police to the point where I got to the point where when I left the house, I knew I had a high percentage chance of getting harassed or stopped by the cops. Yep. So when it would happen, it would almost be so normal, you have a routine. Either it's going to be cool or they're going to pull you out the car, put you in the back seat, have you on the curb, cuff you up, search your car, go straight to where's the guns and drugs story. Exactly. It's like, why is that the first thing they approach us with? Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I know this is happening in the Hispanic community, and it is what it is. Black and brown, we almost on the same path out here in the streets. But as we know right now, the conversation is about black people. So
exactly, as it should be.
You know what I mean? And I believe that the black culture, everybody loves it. But when it's time to be black, it's like only black people can relate to that part of it. And I think that's when these conversations, these protests, these things started to occur, because things have to change, bro. And it's difficult to know. I'm 30 now and I have kids, bro. I have a daughter. She's only 4. But I already know personally I'm going to have certain conversations with a kid just to the color of her skin, bro. Yep. Like my wife is, my child's biracial. You know what I'm saying? She's black and Samoan. But when she's in the field, the society's going to judge her as a black woman. You know what I mean? Exactly. Which is going to be, it's tough to think about, but as a real father and a real person in this world, I have to be upfront and, truthful, so that I'd rather have my kids knowledgeable and prepared, and then be unprepared and react to a situation wrong to the point where it does cause a situation. Yeah. I'd rather them know how to, handle a situation and to the best of their ability, keep themselves in a position where they can still make it home.
Mm-hmm.
But, even when you're in that mode, as of George Floyd, you can still end up dead on the curb somewhere because of how they react.
Yep.
And to me, that is the biggest, that's the biggest task we're facing right now, man.
Mm-hmm. And I feel too, especially those that even don't embrace Black culture, don't even know that much, but want to learn.
Right.
It's important to empathize. It's important to ask questions. Like, a lot of people now, I feel like the most are really trying to now ask, okay, well, what is Black Lives Matter? Because, you look at 2016 when Colin Kaepernick started doing it, they're like, nope, hell no. Like, they just push that aside. But now it's
against that. And that goes to another point I wanted to bring up tonight was that was peaceful. You understand? That was a peaceful protest that got demolished. It got twisted.
Yeah.
The whole message went out the window when they wanted to make it about something that it wasn't. And the backstory of that, knowing that one of Colin Kaepernick's good friends was a Green Beret, and actually told him before he started doing that would be a good gesture, showing solidarity and protest without affecting anybody. But somehow the media twisted it to where he was disrespecting the military, disrespecting the flag, this, that, and the third. But everyone missed the key point: a silent protest for police brutality. And the fact that they twisted it and ruined that man's career just shows you that from peaceful protest, that doesn't work. Violent protest, it doesn't work. You have key examples: Martin Luther King, a peaceful man, yet they assassinated him. Malcolm X, he was with it. The violence, all that, by any means necessary, like he says. You know what I mean? And they assassinated him. So it's like when they bring up Dr. King, even right now on the news, like, what would Dr. King do? Let's live by his rules. That's a slap in the face because you guys still murdered that man.
Yeah.
So what all he did and all those two men had did, or all the ones in the past had did for our rights.
Yeah, ones you never even heard of.
In the face.
Yeah.
It's tough to think about, but the reality is the reality, bro. You know what I mean? And it's
100%. I love how you mentioned it earlier too, especially people embracing Black culture, especially when it's the good stuff, the fun stuff, the movie, the music, everything like that. Everyone loves to be Black. They love to be Black at a concert, at a club, whatever the case may be. And especially when shit hits the fan, especially when it gets... What happened?
They be all in, but it's
100%.
Yeah, shit. They don't know what to do, man.
100%. But then when it comes to when like real situations and they're even associated there with their friends, and like all of a sudden it's not fun anymore.
Right.
You see what they go through. And then even then there's certain situations where like sometimes friends will remove themselves from their Black friends because they don't want to be around that. Correct. All of a sudden it's totally different.
I mean, right now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people probably seeing their friends on social media or whatnot. They can tell who is supporting and who's not, who's being silent, maybe because they don't want the backlash or somebody judging them on their opinion.
Yeah.
And it's a good time for you to really be able to realize who's in your circle that is really just a real human being at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And we would expect all of our friends, our races, to, in a time like this, to just speak up. You don't got to say much. You can be silent. You can do whatever you choose to do, but at least make a post or say something here or there. You don't have to be out here protesting, marching, but at least show that you understand what's happening. Don't like, well, my privilege is so well, whatever they're talking about doesn't pertain to me, which is the problem.
Yeah.
Which is the problem.
And embrace that you want to understand. Like I said, like you don't have to truly know off the top of your head whether you're Mexican, white, or everything opposite of Black. Ask questions. Figure out what's going on. Like, be there for your friends, support your family and friends. But truly, if you don't know, please, there are plenty of resources. There's so much literature. There's so much everything that you really can learn from. And especially anyone in the Black community that is open and wanting to share that knowledge and share their experience to truly get like, this is what we go through. This is what we've been seeing since you were a kid. Be able to share that if they're comfortable and willing to. I know it's hard to share your stories and your experiences that you've been through, but you got to share your story. Everyone's got a story and they got to really share it and be like, this, we need to be together on this one.
Yeah, that's where we're at, bro. We're standing, I'm all for the protest, man. I'm down for that to the fullest effect. We have the those people out here doing destruction, the looters. And if people are paying attention to the media, you see them panning across the town, and you can see where the goods going, the bad's going.
Yep.
And it's only a handful of the bad, which
Yep.
everyone needs to pay attention to. And I just hope that we continue to protest, but I got to bring this up now at this point.
For sure.
The curfews, the curfews going on right now, man, are insane to me, to the point where I feel like they are shutting down the peaceful protests. Okay, I understand you have these looters and things, but there's crime all the time. Whether we in protest mode or not, there's crime. You don't do curfews for that.
Where do you stay in? What area?
Right now, I'm in Long Beach.
Okay.
I stay in between Wilmington and Long Beach. I'm in the, southern area, LA County.
Yeah.
So around here, Long Beach is right down the street from me.
Yeah.
I'm in Wilmington. There's not much popping off right now.
Yeah.
Long Beach is going up, as everybody saw. I think it was Saturday night, or was that Sunday night? I think it was Sunday night.
Yeah, it might have been no.
It was just, I don't know, it was disturbing to know the looting was taken away from the biggest agenda that was really going on, which was marching against police brutality and racism.
Yep.
And I guess as an older cat now, I can understand. Like, I can understand why the younger dudes is moving like that, because I know in their heart they probably feel like they got nothing to lose. They willing to die for anything right now. And, when I was younger, my mentality was similar to that in certain ways, until I ended up, having a wife, having kids, having a house, having these things that I know I have to maintain and keep up to where my family can get to the next level in life. And I think when these young dudes out here, knowing that the police are against them, the streets are against them, no one is there to protect them, no one is there with resources, this is a good time for them to lash out. And my only message to them is that you got to think about the consequences later down the line. I have a few partners that I work with that were in the 92 riots. And some of them have told me that they were out, they ended up getting arrested, and they do charge you with a felony, even though you were just out there, And I don't think people think about that consequence either. This, you looting and shit, is a criminal act. Don't forget there's still cameras. There's cameras in these stores. A lot of these guys I see in there going with no mask on, face all in the camera, and I'm like, with technology, you're going to get caught eventually. So that quick come up now becomes a downfall in your life that you cannot even erase now, which is sickening, bro.
Have you interacted with any young dudes, like any of the, like, I don't know, young teenagers, young black men, whoever? Have you tried to, like, share knowledge, spit a little bit of something, like try to pass it down, something, like be a good OG like that?
Always, bro. You know why? Because with my little cousins, younger dudes I know, my little brother-in-law, like, I don't care if you black, Samoan, Mexican, whatever. If somebody has experienced something and they trying to give you some game, they're not giving it to you just for fun.
Exactly.
A real older cat is going to give you information. Now, I'm 30 years old. You're only 5 years younger than me, bro. It's not that far of a gap. So, in reality, any younger dudes that's in my life, I know some that are around 19-ish, and I can see how shit can go. But somebody like myself, I see it going bad, I will speak up, no matter if they feel like I'm being hypocritical or not, because they may know my past, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'll be wrong to not tell you certain things. Maybe I didn't have that opportunity to have somebody older than me give me some real direction or point me in the right direction. You know what I mean? I just feel like that's the responsibility of every older cat out here. A lot of guys I work with, I always talk to older cats. They might be in their 50s, man, and they have great knowledge. And I always soak that up, because if they in a good position in life today, that means I'm 30. I got still a lot to learn. They done did it all. So the small things I may see, the things that I may think are like stupid or crazy, they'll put me in my place, check me, and let me know what it really is. And I think that's what it's about at the end of the day. We need more people in our communities stepping out on that fine line and telling these youngsters what's right and what's wrong, instead of promoting the bullshit. I see a lot of people though stepping up to the plate, bro, with that on social media, like letting them know, like, this ain't it. It ain't about destructing black businesses It ain't about looting and running up in spots. You know what I'm saying? It's the bigger picture. We gotta, as of like today, we need to get out there and vote. You know, voting is the most critical part of all of this, because in this system, as we see, our president, he's out here a wild dude, and the energy that he gives off to the people is not good, and it puts, how can I say this? Some, you know, a lot of these racist people, their energy's high because they have the leader behind them to back them, and that's just what it is, man. He's there to back them at this point. And when it come to protests, like, you know, a few weeks ago when some of those cats was out there with AR-15s and all that protesting over not getting haircuts, but they considered that, oh, those are good guys. You know what I mean? And we out here with no weapons, 10 toes to the ground, and yet we're thugs and violent, and this, that, and the third. It's like the narrative is painted so cold for black people that it's disgusting, because there's plenty of good black men out here, black women, black people, period, minorities, period, that are good to the world. And the small percentages is what gets the picture painted across the board for all of us, which in the end of the day does nothing good for the people, man.
That's what's on the 6 o'clock news. That's what on every hour, I swear. Like every time I've seen the TV on, whether it's my home or when I go to work and everything, and we had the TV on, it's just nothing but the violence, nothing but just all the negative.
That's all
the
it is.
Negative.
But
it's crazy.
But that's media, period. You know what I mean? It's been like that for years, and I don't think it would ever change, because violence is what brings in the crowds, man. From movies to music, we all know it. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same thing, bro.
What do you think is a good way to counteract that, to try to do your part, or like encourage others to, you know, is it speak up more on social media? Is it try to do more of this type stuff, have a conversation? Right. What is it for you that you think can like kind of go against that, so that's not the main source of information that people take in as far as this topic and the perspective of it?
Yeah, I mean, social media is a big deal nowadays, man. Especially right now with COVID, nobody's outside like that. It's hard to interact, and this is the best form that we can do this right now. Instagram Live, Zoom, whatever you want to call it. I think what needs to be more community conversations. I feel like you can have easier town halls with the people on these kind of platforms if people just set them up properly. You know what I mean? You can have hundreds of people in these chats. You may not be able to hear from everybody, but you're going to get plenty of different opinions to where we could try to come up with a common understanding. And I think that's what is necessary at this point, man. We need more conversation. We need more people giving out real information, like how to get out here and vote. What is that about? Like, who can you vote for? The sheriffs, your congressmen? Like, people need to know information that is never discussed. We always just talking about the new song that dropped, the new movie that's coming out, the new shoes that's out. Nobody's ever just on a random convo talking about, damn, did you know voting's coming up next week? Did y'all register? Who y'all gonna vote for? Do you know such and such and such? Do you even know your own council members in your own district?
That's boring conversation many times.
But I also think it's because it's skewed by the information they get, because people are trying to say get out and vote, and then you hear other either celebrities or local people telling you your vote don't matter. It don't matter what you do. Your vote don't matter. So it's like, how do we weed out those people? You know, because again, the best way to affect change is to start locally. Like, I can think, oh, we need to do this bill to affect overseas stuff, but really what happens is, what really matters is what's happening locally for my community.
And that's important what you just said. Your local community is where it starts. If you can't just get your own little section in line with things, how do you expect to change the world? You know what I mean? And us being in California, it's a little different. Like, I didn't ask you yet, but where do you stay, bro?
Whittier, California.
Okay, Whittier. So,
like right at the outskirts of LA County.
Yeah, you're not too far. So you still.
Whittier had their second day of a peaceful rally today, man. Yeah, really nice, dude.
It went all right. Everyone said it was straightforward, clean, nothing crazy went off, and
at least people are speaking up. That's all we need. That's all we need. That's the conversation. Who's speaking up? this is the longest run of protests I've seen in a while, with all kind of protests in my lifetime. This is the first time it's gone at least 4 or 5 days now.
Yeah.
So
I don't see it letting up because, like I said, with the curfews and all the shit they implement on people, I think people are like, you're not going to control us like that. There's people out there risking it, getting locked up every night to continue to protest. And I commend them for that, man. I commend them for that. But back to the conversation.
Yeah.
This is the platforms we need to be on, man. People need to start talking more. Like you said, people call these boring conversations, but they're not, bro. We complaining about this, that, and the third, but if we don't actually get out here and try to implement change through the laws, nothing matters. It will still be the same thing year after year. So my boy Jay Lotta told me, my boy I do the podcast with, he's not in here right now. I hope he pops in, but I don't know. He said he's got some shit going on, but hopefully he can make it in.
Yeah.
But he wanted me to talk about the Constitution because this is where this all starts from. The laws, the government. This is where all this stuff is based from, the Constitution. Okay? Now, the Constitution was created September 17, 1787. Now, we're talking 1787, slavery was still going on. Okay? Slavery was still going on. It started in 1619 and ended 1865 because of the 13th Amendment. Now, if these laws were created during these times, who do you think wrote these laws? You understand? We know who wrote the laws. There was no minorities in them groups, in those group of people who wrote the Constitution. So if America is based off the Constitution to this day in 2020, with nothing being changed, what does that tell us? The laws are still built pertaining to how they saw fit back then. So if every president comes in, we abiding by the Constitution. Look, fellas, we're in 2020. I know you see some discrepancies in this. How is I don't know these answers, but how can we get in and somehow change that Constitution? How is there a way for America to be able to revamp it in a sense that fits today's world? Get all type of different people come in and make a new Constitution. Because at this point, bro, that's years ago, 400 years ago almost? It's time for a change. And if people don't feel like it's time for that change, to me, they just want to keep riding this wave of privilege, which is the biggest problem we living in, bro.
First thought, I thought it was 2,000 years ago. Don't judge me. Math is not a good subject for me. All right. So next thing is I think when it comes to
4,000 years, all right. Bro.
Look at. My math ain't good, so don't judge me. All right. So the second thing was change should always start from home, right? So for policies to be changed within whether it's the police, whether it's in the Constitution and stuff like that, we need leaders who understand that change should always start from home. When police department, not even just the police department, us, the general public, when we're out in public, how we treat people is a direct reflection of how we were at home, how we were trained at home. And I don't mean to say trained like, oh, no, this is what you got to do, but to know that you have that care in your heart when you walk out the door. That's what I want to say.
Brett, how are you talking to the boys and you and Jen? Like, what's that conversation like in the home?
It's tough. We actually had this conversation 2-3 nights ago. You know, it's tough. It's tough, man. And I told this to my wife. I've went through many issues with the police department. Some were my fault, some were not. But it magnified 10 times when it has to deal with a person who's black. And that's God's honest truth. And our worry day to day is our children. And we are in a predominant Hispanic, Latino, and Armenian neighborhood, right? And yet other children notice the different complexities of brown in my children.
Right.
And so they say those certain things like, I think it was last year, my son is half Mexican, half Samoan. And it was a Cinco de Mayo, and my son came home like, "Oh, you ready to celebrate Cinco de Mayo?" Like, no. I'm like, why not? Like, he was very upset. Why not? He like, they said I'm not Mexican enough. I'm like, say what? Like, having to navigate those conversations is tough. Having to make them aware that once they walk on the street, all eyes are on you is a very tough conversation to have. But because I've had my bouts with the law, and even because I have law enforcement family, and they don't tell me, oh, because you're brown. No, they always tell me, be aware, head on a swivel when you walk on the street. And again, like, those conversations are tough to have, but we're starting to have those more at my 6 and 11 years old now. They see things on the TV, you know, whether it's a person of color getting shot, or even if it's a white person getting shot. It's you know, like, my kids are like, why? What did he do wrong? Like, it's nothing he did wrong, you know. It's people's not making the right decisions at the right time. The conversations are tough, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
Hold on, keep talking. I'm trying to get some more people to come in and ask me how to add in. Hold on.
No, Brandon, it's 100% accurate. Like, my great grandma always used to tell us growing up. Like, she's told me, my mom, all of us, alert, awake, and aware every time you left the house. Always be aware of your surroundings, aware of what's happening. You know, it's unfortunate, especially for Black, that head on the swivel type lifestyle. I go in certain areas, I'm not doing that as much like my Black friends are. But it's for them, it's everywhere you go. You got to be aware. You got to watch the room, what's happening, be aware of everything going on. And it's
like, it's different because like, again, like, I've been around my wife's family, and I'm not trying to say her family, but I didn't grow up here in Montebello. You know, I grew up in Carson. Carson is a very diverse neighborhood. When I came here, I didn't see anything other than either Asian, Armenian, Hispanic, and white. So I seen the first Black person in my building. I'm like, yo, hey, like, I embraced her. Like, hey, I need a hug, because like, I needed that sense of diversity. It's weird being out here, but after 10 years, 11 years, man, it's, you know, to see now that my children have had small little bouts of that. You know, we went to Arizona, and obviously we all know Arizona, but we went to Arizona and to see her relatives and to see my brother. We pulled over at a Crackle Barrel, a normal spot. We always pull over there on our way to Tucson. To have this particular time, I slept at the cousin's house because I've been driving all night. My wife and kids went in, and during this time was the height of the, you know, Donald Trump getting elected and stuff like that. So we jump in there, or they go into breakfast, and my wife came home, and she's telling me I was scared. I was like, what happened? She tells me that when they got there, the servers and some of the patrons were staring at her and the boys, and they had the biggest attitude of the hostess. So they sat her at a table, and then they noticed that the table was separated from everybody else. And, you know, at first my wife didn't think anything of it, and then a woman came in with her daughter who was also biracial. I'm assuming either white or Hispanic and Black, and they sat there right next to my wife. Servers came out. They were literally tossing the food on the table, all kinds of attitude. And my wife said that at that point she noticed some of the patrons standing up and staring. And there's one of the servers, older gentleman, came out and asked her, you know what, I think you guys should leave for your safety. So they packed up their plates, went to the car. When she got to the car, the two guys, I guess two of the patrons that were inside, stood outside by the car. You know, Arizona's an open carry state.
Right.
So they have their weapons out. And, you know, like, it sucks. It really sucks as you know, again, I'm just speaking from a person of color. It really sucks to know that, number one, I wasn't there to defend me, but it sucks to know that as little kids, my kids will face that. You know, it sucks to know that my wife's, you know, that I can't be there to protect them 24/7.
And I think that's the key what you said, being there 24/7. The biggest issue is teaching our kids certain things so that when they do get out here on their own, they can know how to handle a situation. And having kids that are
At
about
a certain age, but now it's like, man, I just want you to be young kids. I just want you to have fun.
right. Of course,
You
that's
know,
what
like
we want, bro.
the atmosphere, what's going on. I feel like we have to teach them a lot sooner.
Correct. Teaching, I'm talking about teaching them now. My kid's 4. I got another one on the way right now. And it's looking,
Congrats.
thank you. It's looking like I'm having another girl, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm having all girls at this point, bro. And I always thought if I had a son, I know I'm going to have some tough conversations with them. But even though they're girls, bro, I still have to do it because as a biracial child, especially the other patriot, me being black, you will be looked at as a black child, a black person. Before anybody else asks any questions, that's how they're going to look at you out the gate, which I think is the biggest issue. Okay, we got someone else joining us. Hello?
So Daniel and Jones, man, I got a question, man.
Yes, bro.
Right now, the atmosphere is heavy, especially when it comes to persons in color. You know what I mean? So for Jones, how are you handling your stress? That's what I want to ask you. And for Daniel, what exercises or what recommendations do you have for a person, especially because I know now is a heavy time for people, and you'll probably get an influx of calls after this because people need to get it off their chest.
Yep.
So how or what advice can you give people to exercise this? Like right now, I'm on a bike. It's not only for my health, but it's also for my mental health.
For sure.
So, what tips can you give people to help exercise it out?
Absolutely. You want to go ahead, Jones, and answer the question first?
Since I know this is what you do, so that's what B told me. This is what you specialize in, right?
Yeah.
So just from my opinion, people who listen to my podcast know I went through a time point in my life where I experienced hella anxiety, bro. I was having panic attacks, all that kind of shit. And what's going on right now, it's not getting to a level where it was before, but there's nights that it's hard for me to sleep because here we go again. All the images I'm seeing is nothing but black brothers getting gunned down, beat down in the streets. I'm seeing nothing but craziness once again. And in my own city, since things have started happening, I even feel the tensions when I'm outside. You know what I mean? It don't feel the same no more. It don't. People look at you or look at me. It don't feel the same no more. So it's kind of like you're almost on this edge right now that you willing to pop off on anything if somebody say something south. And it's like, I'm always a peaceful kind of guy, but I feel like in times like this, people are going to test you. And you're going to get tested way more than ever right now to get a reaction up out of you. And it's like it goes back to being peaceful or being violent. And it's like, you want to be peaceful, but if someone comes in your space violently, like we see police do quite often to a lot of people who are innocent and minding their business, that's why these altercations end up occurring, because people not seeing the beginning where you're being approached, you're minding your business, now you're being accused of something, now they're putting their hands on you, now they're beating you. It's like, how are you supposed to react? Are you supposed to just lay down and die, lay down and get your head beat in? Of course you're going to naturally fight back. So now look, resisting arrest, that's the biggest thing they throw out there, but not realizing you're just protecting yourself because these people done violated your space.
Yeah.
But just because the law enforcement gives them the right damn near to do whatever they want, because they can say what they want when it comes to putting you in them cuffs, because once they arrest you, they arrest you. But if they kill you, they kill you. And we see it time after time. There's a couple of deaths out here where these guys are free. They didn't get convicted. And them 3 other cops that was there when George Floyd died, they still free, bro. So anxiety is heavy for people. They like, how could you have watched this on camera, on TV every day and still don't have these guys behind bars?
Exactly.
And if it was somebody like me, I would have been cuffed, shot, whatever you want to call it, within seconds. I would have never got to go see my family again. I would have never got to go grocery shopping again. None of that would have ever occurred. You know, and because I go back to the Mount Aubrey situation. Them dudes who killed him was free for almost 2 or 3 months. it's like no regard for the black life that just got that was lost. And it's like, it's stressful, bro. It's stressful, man.
Absolutely.
It's stressful.
Jones, how do you take care of yourself, though? I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has their own ways to, ground themselves and try to catch their breath in some way. I mean,
Right.
Brandon shared a little bit of his. What's for you, though? Share your spot a little bit. Like, what helps you?
I mean, basically, as of late, when I was experiencing my situations, I just found like what be saying, exercise, eating better, things like that. Like, I'm down 40 pounds. Like, I was a big,
Nice.
I'm a big dude, but I was a bigger dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, just those small things can help you kind of clear your mind. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Getting rest. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Eliminating certain things in your life that was really stressing you out, and you realize are unnecessary in your life. But yet, we all have stressors, and sometimes we take on stress that we don't really need. We just take it on and try to take it off of somebody else's shoulders.
Exactly.
But in the process of doing that, anxiety, panic attacks will occur because your brain is overloaded.
Yep.
And that's what I've been learning, man. Just practicing being able to take myself out of certain situations to keep my
being still.
Correct. Like I used to look at situations and overreact within seconds. Couldn't stop me. I always been told, man, you think too much, you overreact too much. Could be true, but I'm a thinker, and I always have been, and that's not going to change. But my actions towards certain things, yeah, they've changed drastically because that just gets my blood pressure up, going crazy over something. Like, I just don't do it no more. I kind of sit back and analyze what's happening, react, and tell myself, is it that serious, or can I think about it and come up with a solution? So that's pretty much where I've been lately with my own personal mental health.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for sharing that too. I mean, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I appreciate you sharing that.
That's what this podcast is about, bro. Sparking Convos about shit that matters. That's our tagline.
Yep.
And anxiety, all this kind of shit is serious, especially in times like this, including COVID. People been locked down. COVID is another thing, man. It's another thing that probably got temperatures rising right now.
Absolutely.
And damn, they're like, coronavirus done disappeared already.
Right.
So I was going to invite a friend to chime in because he's somewhat of a conspiracy theorist. And I think that conversation would have went way right. So I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't tag him for this conversation.
Look, man. Maybe for the best.
Yeah, so Jones said, I mean, he's obviously changing the mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's where Jones is at, learning to be still in these times.
Yeah.
For myself, it's either exercising or, I'm a big dude too, but, I try to make sure that I get in some kind of exercise. And then I've also been doing I was kind of glad a friend tagged me or a family member tagged me in this 25 days, 25 scriptures push-up challenge because I'm a follower of Christ, and sometimes the world can, especially social media, can cloud me from keeping in touch with God. So then, this challenge has not just forced me, but it had helped to make me accountable to open my word and allow God to speak into me. What other vices or what other exercises can you give out, Daniel, to help, especially with today's stressful levels right now, with the atmosphere we're living in? What other ways can you advice can you give out to help navigate?
Absolutely. First off, let me say you've been committed as hell on social media with the 25 days versus everything. Props, bro. Like, I swear every day it's just a new video of you.
Man, I'm telling you, it's a struggle.
The boys get on it too. I love it. But no, especially you both you're nailing such big and huge factors that come into play. And we're talking anxiety. Anxiety, everyone's different as far as how, we process it, what triggers the anxiety, what our body does. A lot of times when I'm working with clients with anxiety related issues, if that's a big part of their presenting problem, is really trying to understand this monster. We all got monsters. Now, granted, I've done my own work over the years. For the most part, I'm friends with the monsters under my bed, is what I like to use. Anxiety, a lot of people that struggle with it, that's the one that they haven't really faced and try to figure out what happens when I'm in this situation or I'm interacting with this person, whatever the case that triggers it. What happens to my body? A lot of times when we face anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues so much, our body talks to us. They're letting us know. So on the topic of anxiety, you know, I've asked people, what happens when you start to feel anxious? It's like, well, my heart starts racing. I'm like, okay, what else happens? It's like, well, my fists start to clench up. Okay, what else happens? It's like, well, I start to get sweaty, you know, and kind of just like breaking it down, helping them understand what we call somatic symptoms, which is basically just a way of just saying bodily symptoms of what happens to us when we start to feel anxious. So that way, after really trying to understand what happens to us in those anxious situations, you can be able to recognize, okay, my heart's racing. I need to take a walk. I need to step away. I need to do some deep breathing and catch myself. Myself, growing up, I struggled with anxiety all the way up to panic attacks. It would get to that bad in fourth grade. I would just instantly freak out. I didn't know what to do. It was about school related stuff, family related stuff. You know, I would just let that all happen and ride. And the next thing you know, my heart's racing and I can't breathe that much. Now, anxiety is my monster that I'm starting to get to know. Hello, new person, by the way. Anxiety is my thing that I'm starting to get to know, understanding my depression, but anxiety specifically, I know for me, once I start to get like sweaty hands, that's when I need to like do my breathing. I need to take a drink of water. I have to recognize what happens for me and what I need in that moment. So each person, whatever it is that your body tells you or your mind or the situation that you recognize, like when I'm in this type of setting or with these type of people, my body's telling me this, I need to go do this so my balloon doesn't get too big, because eventually we all pop. Everyone's balloon's different. And, you know, some people that fills up really quick and they pop, or it takes a little bit more and more and more until they snap. And they didn't do the necessary things early on to take some of that air out so they didn't get to the explosion part. Does that make sense on that one?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, hold on one second. Maisha, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for joining us right now.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, you know what today's all about, the Spark That Talk community talk. Today was basically going to be focusing on, obviously, the protests, the Black Lives Matter, you know, police brutality, racism, all that and above. And I'm glad you joined us. And right now we're basically just talking about anxiety and things like that in a time like this. My man right here at the top, Daniel, he's an expert in that area. So we were talking a little bit about that. But now that you're hearing this conversation, the fact that you and my boy Hailey, y'all have two beautiful daughters over there. We were just on the conversation of talking to our kids about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Really wanted to get you guys' opinion, because I know you guys, the age range of the kids are where right now where we almost have to get into these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear from you on that point. Like, how do you have these conversations with the girls, and kind of how are you guys coping with what's going on right now?
Yeah. Conversations with the kids. That's so funny because I wasn't going to have the conversation because kids come with different personalities. I didn't know how my 6-year-old was going to respond to it. I'm sorry, my computer. I didn't know how she was going to respond to it. She's a feeler. She feels a lot of things. She gets into deep thought about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. She will internalize it. She'll feel that pain. And so I didn't want to take her through that. But I know that she has had a situation at school at 6, even this year in first grade, where another Black girl asked her why her skin was like that, which was interesting. But there's that colorism dynamic as well in the Black community. So that's just a whole nother conversation. But in respect to like what's happening now, I was nervous to talk to her about it. But the popos came right here, right outside our window, about 4 of them the other night. And we never have cops where we live like that. And they were catching looters. And that was our first interaction. We had to shut all the windows because we didn't know what was going on at the time. Once I knew it was looters, I was like, okay, we good, right? But yesterday she was driving with me and about 30 cop cars drove by us. I was in LA, right off Crenshaw, picking up a check from one of my clients.
LA's crazy right now.
Yeah, it's crazy in LA. So we live in Lakewood, just for context. Long story short, I then felt like I need to explain to her what's going on. And I did it. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I definitely dumbed it down. And then today we went to In-N-Out as a family, and I mentioned it in front of Hailey because I felt like he could give more perspective. And when I heard him speak, it was a moment that I was really proud to be his woman, because, you know, being a Black man in a city that you do experience that kind of poor interaction with the cops, I appreciated how he did not have a hate-filled message for his 6-year-old daughter and was still able to tell her what's going on. And she did feel it, right? Because that was my concern. But I felt like it was time to talk to her about it, because mom's been reacting and reading, because I work in media, so that's my thing. I repost, this is my way of protesting, because I can't leave the house between COVID and the kids. This is how I'm protesting.
You've been given a lot of good information out there, especially. We'll get to that in a second about the Black Tuesday, the blackout, because I got to get on that for a second after this. But continue, please.
So yeah, just to end, talking to the kids, I think it's a choice each household has to make, and I was really proud that my partner was able to complement the conversation so that our kid could understand, because I think it's just a hard one to have. So, but I think it needs to be had. We're literally in the middle of a revolution, whether people want to admit it or not. This is it. So. Yeah,
it's definitely going down right now, and you know, not just with ourselves dealing with it internally. We have families, so we have to have everybody prepared in this moment, because, like you said, we in the time of some serious change. And as of right now, I don't see the protests slowing down, which is actually amazing and great for the people, because this needs to happen. The only way change will come when you start hitting their pockets, when you start being disruptive. Sometimes that's what it takes. And in that fight, we are going to be going out here in the community with our kids, with our families, to the point where there's going to be situations that occur in front of our eyes that you have to be able to deal with and explain. And we're having kids, I guess we got to hit them with it early in the game. That's just what it is. I'm definitely glad you spoke on that.
But don't you feel like if they're disrupting? Oh, okay.
Go ahead, B. What's on your mind?
No, you just said. I heard you say that, you know, sometimes we got to be disruptive. Don't you feel like that can also be disruptive to the Black and brown communities and what they're profiting?
I think that's why when I talk about the protesters versus looters, that's what we got. You know, that's serious. The looting is going to happen in front of our eyes, bro. The violence is going to happen because you got your opportunists that are going to get out here and do this shit right now. They're going to do it because they know the police over here watching 1,000 people silently protesting, and you're going to have your group of 20, 30 people disrupting the city. So like I said, we may come across that. So how do we react, and how do we tell our kids what's really going on? You got to teach them protesters out there fighting for your rights. These guys over here, they just the problem with society, period. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by disruption. You know what I mean, bro? That right there. But let me get back to my issue real quick about the Blackout Tuesday situation. Now, I woke up this morning and seen everybody with black posts on their page, so I had to see what was going on. And I was like, okay, we on the way right now, trying to stand up for Black Lives Matter. And then eventually, later in the day, I'm finding out people hashtagging Black Lives Matter in them posts, and then that was their last post of the day, basically blacked out Instagram searches when it come to Black Lives Matter. There was no longer content. It was just black posts, black pictures, which now is taken away from the conversation again. And I feel like whoever set this up did not give clear guidelines on how to go about doing this. And it just messed up a lot of stuff, in my opinion.
Bottom line. That's the bottom line right there.
But could you just kind of give us I heard your talk earlier, but can you talk about that real quick on the pod?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, because you and I are pretty active on social, at least daily, right? Some of us more than others. lot. Hear what it was. And so my comment, which I don't think everyone took it well, was this is when having leadership is very important in this type of a thing. And then someone else made a comment like, we are the leader. Comment as well. But my point was I had no clear direction on how I could support Blackout Tuesday. I had to do my research this morning because it became problem.
Well, you're breaking up a little bit right there.
Was today that to give context, I think the internet's a little unstable sometimes, but basically to give context, Blackout Tuesday was supposed to be a time where we went silent, yes, not silent in our posting about the Black community.
Correct.
Businesses, or maybe we post about our kids, or we have a purpose with our page.
Right.
Your podcast kind of stays within the context of what was appropriate for Blackout Tuesday. But a lot of people was like, oh, we're going to black out. We're going to get silent. And yes, we were supposed to do that. We were not supposed to stream music today. Content today to show how we do have power and we contribute to a lot of, how would you say, the capitalism here in America. Like if we decide to protest that, we're going to hurt your pockets. And so that's what we were supposed to be silent from. A lot of people just had a blackout post. And to me, yes, there was no content, but halfway through the day, everyone caught game and was like, oh, okay, we could post content. So I still don't think it didn't work against our favor, because you see how many people were in solidarity with us. And just to close my commenting, women that I know who are business owners who are not Black were asking me, they were never had other small businesses repost my content. They put muted, we're not posting our content anymore today. And they began to repost a lot of the content that I was posting having to do with police brutality. So I feel like in my little world, that it actually still works.
I think that's what's important. As long as the people you're dealing with is catching on to the wave, it'll catch like wildfire down the line. Them people got their followers, we got our followers, they got their followers, and that's what it's supposed to be, a chain reaction. And I think that's what happened. When I saw almost every person on my page with Black pictures, that shows people can line up and stand together on something. But once we found out the real meaning behind it, it changed up like that, because it was like, all right, let's not take away from the cause, because as soon as we do that, we lose traction. And right now, traction is so good. You got the president going crazy right now. You got the National Guard deployed. You know, it's curfews. These are things I'm even talking to my elders about. They never even experienced curfews and things of that nature. So we're in a whole new era right now, and it's because of the movements that's moving right now. Almost every state, there was people out here protesting. I think 140 cities was protesting right now about this. National Guard had to hit 21 states. When does this happen? Like, we're not in a civil war right now, but yeah, you got the military in our streets moving around. All because of this, which means this is a big-ass problem and that needs to be discussed. The fact that this is a serious issue, and they know race, police brutality, these things is what is the corruption of the United States of America, and they know it because this place was built on violence. And if people don't believe that, look in the history books, bro. It's built on violence, taking from people, enslaving people, raping people, brutalizing people. This country was built off of those factions. And in today's world, 2020, we still have a lot of shit we're dealing with that needs to be discussed. You weren't here early when we was discussing the Constitution, which I feel like needs to be changed. There's time for changing that, because that was built in years when there was slavery, when there was only white men at the table making the decisions. And yeah, we still live by that code in this world. This is why I feel like we do got to get out here and vote. We got to put in more Black Latino leaders in these offices so that they can come down and talk to the people and get our message across. If there's only one or two, that's not enough. Our president was Black at one point. That wasn't even enough. That was one man. We talking about we need 50 to 60% within these organizations moving around. That's what we need, and that's what we're missing, and that's my opinion. Everybody there?
Hmm?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know I
I
just
agree.
passed, but I had to.
I agree. But I'm gonna put on this tinfoil hat real quick because a friend of mine had posted something. I was just sharing Maisha. I had a friend I wanted him to jump on, but I think his views were way out there, right? So he had an issue with the whole Blackout Tuesday. And I'm like, well, what's your reason behind the Blackout Tuesday? He said, well, because it's taken away from the Hillary case or the Hillary hearing that's happening today, right?
Okay.
As somebody in the media, does I'm trying to ask you, like, do you feel like, because I'm only asking this based on what he was telling me, do you feel like the Blackout Tuesday was taken away from the coverage from the Hillary case?
It's taking away from everything, even COVID-19. So absolutely. I don't even know. I don't even know what he's talking about. If I'm honest, I haven't heard about that.
And that was my
Absolutely, but I think that's the point.
Yeah, Blackout Tuesday definitely. That's why I said once everybody caught on to what was going on, it shifted quick. Now everybody got their shit that they tuned into. People may have been into the Hillary case. People not worrying about that right now. You know what I'm saying? We are not concerned about what Hillary Clinton is doing. We out
And
here worrying about black lives, police brutality, racism. We out here in the field for that right now. That to me, that kind of shit is a distraction.
but
If you
Hillary knows better. I mean, she should have rescheduled that. She knows.
well,
She knows what's up.
this
She
was a
knows what's up.
rescheduled hearing from last year.
Oh, I see. That's
what this,
crazy. I mean, that is crazy. You're right. That he's right.
So
That's
Jones, like
crazy. I didn't even know
I know
about
you think it's a distraction, Jones, but it's also not a distraction based on, I guess, if we want to talk about our government, right? So it's not a
yeah,
distraction. We don't know what emails were shipped back and forward. So
you right.
that's why I was
It's
asking, do you think Blackout
obviously
Tuesday took away?
right. I hear what you're saying, B. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, of course it's important because that was a big situation when it was happening. The email shit with her, of course that's important because we already know so much corruption in the government. We need to know what's going on with that. But for us to even get into the position of where we really gonna know the real facts, we only know what they feed us, just like the media feed us, right? So we need more people of our color, our race, to be up inside these offices to be more transparent. And those people running for offices that are transparent are usually the martyrs of them people. They don't like them. They don't want them around because they like you pushing too hard for people's justices and rights. And I think when you get people in that position, when they start pushing for the people, they always get looked at sideways for some reason. And I think we need to open our eyes to that situation alone, that when we have people standing up for our human rights as people, period, black, Latino, whatever, those are the ones they don't never want to really elect into office, bro. Especially their counterparts. The people may want them, but their counterparts, they're not on their page. They're not on that wave. They're on that wave of special interest groups. They're getting them big checks. You know, money runs the world. That's why, like you said, the black dollar is so powerful. If we stop spending money in certain areas for one day, that's hella disruptive. You talking about coronavirus disrupted the economy. Let all the black people stop spending money for a day, and let's see what happens. And put that money to black businesses. Let's see what happens when that happens. You know what I mean? Like these are just the conversations, bro, that need to be had. And Spark That Talk is that platform. I'm glad you hit me up, bro, to tell me to do this community chat again, because we did it a few weeks ago about when coronavirus hit for like 2 weeks. And right now we in a whole nother pandemic. You know what I mean? We in within the pandemic in the pandemic right now. You know, so we just
Um,
living in wild times, people, my family, my Spark That Talk family.
man, um, I also wanted my boy Daniel Verdugo to check in, man, as a licensed therapist. His podcast, the All Ears podcast, right?
Sure.
I love hearing the mental growth in everybody, which is why I asked for him to jump on, because right now, um, the mental instability is really, really heavy right now, right? People are thinking all different right now, and I feel that he can give on how to work through or navigate through this season that we're all walking in, man.
Absolutely.
So, Daniel Verdugo, man, all your podcast, bro. I got to head out right now, man, but thanks for chiming in. Spark Talk, the invitation, man. Maisha, it's great to meet you. Love you guys, man. Let's have a good one.
All right, brother. Stay safe. Well, it looks like it's just us for now, but we're not gonna be too much longer. But I'm just glad that you guys tapped in with me today, because this is important. These conversations and hearing from all sides, all walks of life is what's important at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And that's how we get change. That's how we move the needle forward. It can't just be one-sided right now.
Yeah.
That's why when they say the ones who are silent are the ones who is oppressing us.
Yeah.
But you all are not being silent, which means you stand with the cause, which means you are for change. And if everybody can get on this wave, change will be necessary and it will happen. Yeah. Because like I said, you have the peaceful people and you will have some more outrage if things don't start changing. Because I see more and more videos every day of police getting wild with people, innocent people protesting. They're not giving that energy to the looters. I seen cops look at the looters and just let them run past them. Like, I was confused with that. The one in Long Beach, they was right there chilling. The cops, they just sagging right past them with the clothes jumping out the windows, not even doing nothing. But you got a man peacefully standing there protesting. He get knocked on the damn ground, get his head busted open. So it's like the images we're seeing are not good. So there's not going to be enough people to not get wild. People are going to get wild, bro, and we just must prepare ourselves mentally and physically because, like you said, we're in a revolution. In a revolution, some things may happen that we don't like, but it's almost an unnecessary, it's a necessary uncomfortableness that we must go through to get change. And if that's what our generation has to do, then that's what we're going to have to do. And just prepare ourselves and our families at the end of the day.
And make sure you're taking care of your families. Maisha, you have children, and Jones, you have children as well.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of what, I don't think you came in after Maisha, but Brandon was saying, like, a big part of it starts in the home. Make sure you're just taking care of your families, taking care of yourselves too. Make sure of course, you want to stay informed, you want to stay updated with what's going on in the world, but take a break. I've been talking to all day today with my clients was everything going on in this world. That was every session that I had. And, processing everything, we're hearing what's going on, and make sure you have that moment, like stay with the family, do something fun. Not saying you're not a part of the cause, you're not taking, you're not forgetting about it. It's still there. It's still there. We can still do our things in our home, but please be present. And like, all right, I've been looking at stuff for like, oh my gosh, 4 hours now, and I haven't even like chatted or with my spouse, with my children, and spent some time with them. Like, let's have a minute, or some time, and we just take care of ourselves and a unit too in the house.
No, I think you're so right, and that's with anything in life, right? Especially now, because things are so emotionally draining and the energy is just off. And if you believe in that spiritual side, like, it's a lot going on. So you do take a break, recharge. And I love him because he is not on the phone as much as I am. Total opposite personality. Sometimes we judge each other with that, but it's whatever it is you do, you have to take it's self-care, right? Yeah, but a lot of people are really feeling it right now. And it's heavier than usual. So you're absolutely right. And even the kids, I felt like I had to explain to her why the energy was off for so many days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember, the kids been home since coronavirus.
Yes.
The family's some are been home. I don't know about you guys, Maisha and Heidi, but I know Heidi says he's out every now and then doing his thing. And obviously, like you said, you got to go out and do your thing. But like my wife and kid been at home since coronavirus. She working from home. So my daughter been able to stay home. She just been home for months. And
It's
the first
School's
time.
not back in session till next school year. That was in March. That's crazy.
Correct. And this is the first time really since giving birth, being home with our kid for this amount of time, because when things are at normal pace, you're dropping them off here, there, you're going to work,
Right.
when you see them. But now that you're spending so much time together,
yeah,
and that's why when times like this, they are going to notice things because it's on TV all day, it's popping up every day. That's the conversation in your home every day. So they're going to hear these things, they're going to see images, and that becomes when that's why I brought up us having to have these conversations, because there's no running away from it right now. We can't really safeguard them right now from things because it's in our face. It's happening right now. And that is probably a topic in almost every home with kids right now. I know it has to be.
Kids notice more than we think.
Yeah.
They know more. Think about when we were kids. Like, we knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
We may have had our own little version of what we thought was going on, but that's why we got that trauma. And, like, we knew what was up. Maybe we didn't have a mature version of it, but that's why I think if you have an adult or someone to guide you in the process of what is taking place, that's why I was like, I think I should just say something.
Yeah.
Very important to have guidance for our kids, because we all probably grew up in different situations that garner for when you did have kids, you was going to do different. And this is them times when being different is going to be better for your family's sake at the end of the day.
Right.
And I just commend everybody out here. I just want to tell everybody right now that's listening, just stay strong, stay 10 toes down, because as Maisha said, we're in a revolution, and I think we should be proud to be a part of this time. All black people need to be proud to be black right now, because we have fought for hundreds of years for equality. Yeah, we still don't have it. Of course, certain things are there, but they're blanketed with other things. You know what I mean? And it's always been blankets covering us, blanket this, blanket that, to make it look like things aren't happening, yet they happening right in our faces.
Nope.
And right now, I think everybody pulling them blankets back and realizing this shit been in your face every day you wake up still. Things are the same, just a little sauce on top to make it look good. You know what I mean? And we in some times, man, where we got to stand tall and be proud of who you are, no matter your race. And no matter your race, meaning you need to come to the realization that there are problems in this society, and don't look over them as if that doesn't pertain to you. And the people who do that are the problem, which means that you condone this stuff. You condone police brutality, you condone racism, you condone all the shenanigans that this world brings us. But right now, I have been seeing a lot of people pulling up, standing up. The only thing I think the downfall that I do see is that how me and Daniel were talking earlier about people embracing the black culture, but not knowing how to act when it's really time to be black. They don't have those experiences. So, a lot of those people who enjoy the black culture, I see them. They're not really saying much. You know what I mean? And these are celebrities I'm talking about. Like, you taking from the community in every which way you can take. But yeah, when it's time to be black and experience the black experience in the real way, you don't even know what to say, because you've been faking it this whole time anyway. I'm not telling you to be black if you're not black, but if you're going to be part of the culture and embrace it, at least say something, speak up.
Absolutely.
Something. At least say Black Lives Matter. Something. Yeah, something.
We need something. You know what I'm saying? Because when this is over, we watching you. You talking about you probably trying to protect them pockets. They're going to be hurting in a minute. You messing with everybody like that, their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions are high, and I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of celebrities, like, in the comments who are, like, white. Specifically, I was under Luke Bryan's post. He's a country singer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really into country, but I love American Idol, so that's why I'm following him. He's a judge. And he posted today, and it was just, I was in the comments. I'm not going to lie. I made a comment, which I never do, but I feel like right now I should. And his followers were not very nice about it, but they are speaking to the looting. So I think we recriminalize ourselves when we do things that are deemed as not protesting school, right? But then, that's a whole nother conversation, so I won't even get into it. I'm sure you probably mentioned it.
That is not another conversation, because this is the conversation, Maisha.
Yeah.
I talked about this earlier, protesters, looters. And then, like you said, if all people are talking about is the looting, they're lost in the conversation once again.
But you have to remember, like, you're 100% right, period. I got you. But when you think about mainstream media, and then Republicans are not watching CNN because Donald Trump is like, Donald Trump has already said CNN's, you guys don't watch that. So CNN might cover the types of things that we see posted on social media, even if they're like a day or two late. They kind of do support, that liberal left west view or whatever, versus if all the news that these white or right-wing people are consuming is not talking about anything but the looting, we are going to continue to look bad. They perpetuate, and so do we in some ways, the looters, right?
Right.
Perpetuate this idea that Black people are angry, they're animals, they're whatever it may be that's not positive.
Part, you look at the looting, it ain't just Black people looting.
And that's another thing that I have not been saying, but Steve Harvey spoke out today, which I appreciated, but Steve Harvey spoke out today and said, go home. And he said, go home, he said, because it's nothing new in the history of protesting. There have been other groups that have come and infiltrated the protest and started breaking shit and started spray painting shit. And every video I've seen of a loot has been a non-Black person. It blows my mind. I'm sure there's been Black looters too, but I've seen so many videos and there's Black protesters telling them to stop and they do not stop. That's crazy to me.
Oh, it's happening. The Long Beach one was a prime example. There was an OG cat out there stopping some masked up young buck. He was not Black, from tearing down boards off a window. And it's like, when the images come out, it makes it look like it's only Blacks. But when you skim across the camera and they cut back off of them real quick so you don't see it, I just saw it, bro. You're not fooling me. That goes back to the case with George Floyd. We all see in the video. So for anybody to say that they were in the right shows you the audacity of people to continue to look over things, and it's dead in your face. It's not just a conversation no more. It's in sight. You can see this. You mean to tell me your eyes aren't seeing what I'm seeing? That's when you know we in a confused society still. And we just got to keep working with our own people and build ourselves up and get everybody in position. We need better positioning. Our resources are already scarce in our own communities, where we don't have any really outreach programs for the Black, the Latinos, the minority. It's already been an issue.
To that point, I've never known how to feel about a census, but supposedly that's what the census is for. And I was working for a firm last year, a Democratic firm, very much for the people, for working people. And he said, take the census. So I'm not sitting here advocating for the census, but apparently that can help money coming back to our communities. And I hope that that's true. But to that point, I don't know if everyone has taken their census. I went ahead and took it for my whole house.
Right.
Because I'm just not sure if it's true, but I see where there's a lack of funds. I see where we're not getting what we need, Right. So I don't know, that's a point. I haven't done enough research to say that's the way, but.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they say in the census is a tool to use to help bring money to your communities. Now, I need to do more research on certain things, so I'm not even going to speak too much on it before I misspeak. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to dive a little deeper. I even told myself I got to start reading a few more books, and I need to start digging a little deeper on certain subjects, because the things that I see now, I know there's roots to this stuff, and I need to know all the facts. Because I need to start, when I'm coming on my platform, I need to be able to bring some serious facts so that when these conversations happen, people not just thinking we just out here yapping.
No, that's a great point too. That's great.
So we're definitely going to continue this conversation, man. Right now, we already know this is an ongoing situation. So I appreciate both of you guys for coming on. I appreciate B for tapping in with us. Give a shout out to my boy Hiley. I don't know what that boy doing, but
he got the kids because I'm in here.
That's why I just wanted one of y'all to come on. I'm glad you did, because I want to hear a woman's perspective, especially a mother, and I'm glad you tapped in with us. And thank you, Daniel, again, brother, for joining me. And hopefully in the future we can actually just do a pod strictly on mental health and stuff when I get my boy Jay back on with us too, bro, and we could just have a whole podcast based on that so we could dive into your mind about that, bro. But thank you for joining the conversation, what's happening in the world right now, giving your opinion, and, you know, showing that you stand with the people and the cause, and I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely. And both of you and everyone listening, feel free to follow me on Instagram, on my social media, DA_Verdugo. I try to share as many resources, uplifting posts, and, you know, the private practice that I work with, Renovari Counseling in Placentia, California. Okay. We're really trying to be involved in this movement, try to offer our resources, our knowledge, everything that we can. So Renovari Counseling, follow me on Instagram. Anyone who needs resources or just needs to talk to someone, we're offering 30-minute free mental health consultations. So please take advantage of that if you need to just process and just try to get a hold and some type of understanding of what's going on and how you're reacting and handling it all. So appreciate you guys for having me.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Thank you, Maisha.
Bye, Maisha.